You are tuned in to that PRAYzy station, PRAYzy.FM, where we get our praise on. 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Under the Scope. I am your host, Kimbralon B. I am so excited that you are here. I'm excited that I am here. I'm excited that my special guest is here. Why? Because we're in our second season, and also May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So I want you to join me as I talk about those taboo topics in May for Mental Health Awareness Month. A little bit about me, in case you don't know, wonder, what is she talking about? So my name is Kimbralon B. I am a licensed professional counselor in the state of Arizona. I've been practicing in the field for almost 10 years. And one thing that I did learn about the field, and this is how Under the Scope came about, was that I could only do so much in the counseling room. But outside of the counseling room, the stigmas and everything else that prevents people from coming to see me occurs outside of there. So in addition to being a counselor in the counseling room, I decided, you know what? I need to get this show on the road. I need to go ahead and go public and talk about the importance of mental health awareness. But as you see, it's just one of me, and I couldn't do it alone. So I had to find some of the most influential people with their knowledge, skills, abilities, talents, and whatever else they have to bring to the table. And the most important about these people is how they contribute to mental health awareness. So that's how Under the Scope came about. Let me tell you something about the name, which is very catchy about Under the Scope. It's not just Under the Scope because it's cute. Under the Scope is called Under the Scope because this is a participatory show. So you have an opportunity to participate in Under the Scope. How, you may ask? Yeah, I got your answer. So what happens is I sit down and I talk to the guests and I ask the guest questions. The guests already know these questions and they're able to ask because we want to be able to give you healthy dialogue. However, Under the Scope is the part where we turn the floor over to you. Whether you're on Facebook Live, how you doing, Facebook Live, or you're here in the Zoom room. What up, Zoom room? You have an opportunity to ask our guests unscripted questions when we take them under the scope. There's no way they can prepare, so they have to be able to give an answer off the cuff. If you're on Facebook Live, please utilize the comments. In Zoom, please utilize the chat. And that's how you participate. All right, so just a disclaimer. Any information that's talked about on Under the Scope is for conversational, inspirational, and educational purpose and does not substitute you from going to get a higher level of care. If you need a higher level of care, reach out to me or reach out to PRAYzy FM radio if you're on Facebook Live, and I will be able to direct you to wherever you're at for some community resources. And before we get our show started, I want to give the biggest shout out to this platform that I'm on, this PRAYzy platform, PRAYzy FM radio, and our awesome, amazing producer, Dr. Lady Rain. And we'll talk more about how you can utilize this platform as well. All right, everyone, I think I got all the preliminaries out of the way. I want to get this show on the road because today's topic is women and mental health. And honey, we want to just dissect this thing as much as we can, but we only have an hour. So we're getting ready to get started. And again, as I mentioned earlier, can't do it alone. So I had to bring one of my first guests, fabulous sister, honey. We have great conversations. You know, it's a blessing to have people in your life that you may not talk to every day, but when you connect, woo-wee, it just works, y'all, like peanut butter and jelly. So Dr. Karen Stallings, aka Dr. K, is amazing. She wrote a book about faith and trauma, y'all. You know, these are topics we don't like to talk about together. And she tackled that book, and I used her book for a book club. But she does more than that. She has women groups. She has other books. She has a lot of things, but I know you've heard enough from me. So we're going to go ahead and get the train and we're going out of the station. Next up is my special guest, Dr. Karen Stallings, AKA Dr. K. Can you introduce yourself?
Absolutely. On the train. Woo, woo. No, we're always grateful and happy to be here in Under the Scope. It's always an honor and a privilege. Anytime I get to spread the news about mental health, but especially when I get to be with you, my sister. Yes. And so I am Dr. K. I am the founder of Heal My Wounded Place, which is a organization that is dedicated to helping, equipping, and encouraging people to heal the wounds of their soul. And so I am a clinician. I've been doing this work for approximately 30 years now. I've been in different facilities and programs. I've done foster care. I've done child protective service work. I've done juvenile justice work. And currently, for the last 22 years, I've been at a alternative program where it's an alternative school where we have students from kindergarten to high school. And I'm the school social worker there. And in addition to that is Heal My Wounded Place, where it is dedicated to helping people deal with trauma and wounds. And specifically, I have a burden for the body of Christ, right? Because of the stigma, because of the taboo when it comes to faith and having to kind of process trauma. And that's what I love to do. I do it during the day, I do it in the evening, and I love children, I love women, I love families. My doctorate is actually in marriage and family, so I work with couples, I work with families, and it is all that I do. And I am on a mission to destigmatize mental health, and that's it.
This is so amazing. I like how we all can band together and just talk about this to address the stigma, right? And just not let it be that elephant in the room anymore. So grateful for what you do. We're going to go ahead and get right in on our topic of women and mental health. So I want to start out with a statistic, Dr. K. So it says in the United States, the prevalence of mental illness in the past year is more common amongst females than males, and more common among the young than the old. As of 2020, around 25.8% of females reported some type of mental illness in the past year, compared to 15.8% of males. Some common forms of mental illness we know includes depression, anxiety disorders, and mood disorders. And these numbers are only the reported numbers, right? Mm-hmm. So I just want to ask you this question. We're going to go ahead and get started right now. What are the common factors that impact the woman's mental health?
So I just have to start off with, definitely we have all gone through a pandemic, right? So on top of the regular different mental health issues that women face, the fact that we've all gone through a pandemic definitely has impeded upon our whole nation, our whole world, right? You can see it across the board. You can see it in men and women everywhere, but specifically women. So definitely the pandemic. But when it comes to women and mental health, the physical things that impede upon us are things like, menopause and I would say, our menstrual things that we have to go through physically. But when you talk about different responsibilities that we have that impede upon our mental health, like we're moms and we're wives and we're professionals and just different roles that we play, right? Definitely impede upon our mental health, because we understand and know that the physical and the mental are connected, right? So if you're tired and exhausted physically, it will impede upon your mental health and vice versa, right? And so we're gonna, I'm sure, talk about the whole, women feeling as though that we are superheroes, right? So all of those things definitely impede upon our mental health and how we feel about ourselves and our emotional state.
I can definitely see it. I've been, we've all heard that there's been some pretty prominent people in our community, celebrities, or however you want to look, that actually completed suicide. And that was just really mind blowing when you learned of some of the reasons. And some of the reasons that you mentioned, even though we laugh and joke about the menstruals and menopause, fertility issues. I think about all the things that we go through, and some people, I like when you said how it's together with physical and mental, because it is. And I think we separate it. If it's this is the physical piece, but it takes its toll on the mental piece. And another thing that women, we have, and it's just society within itself, is the fact of how do we look, our self-esteem, we're having body issues. I remember, I think, watching the show with the young lady that just jumped from the 29th floor, where as beautiful as she was, as Miss USA, she was receiving, and I was listening to the other show, like hate mail or mail talking about her body, saying that she had a man shape. And these are things that happen to us as women, and men may or may not go through. Again, disclaimer, men, I don't know if you go through it. I don't know. I'm a woman. I can only speak on this side of the street. But it's a lot that we go through. And even though we can take it, and like you said, we'll talk about it later, it does take its toll, which leads me to my next question. And I just want to throw this out that, again, if this show is not designed to just substitute you getting a higher level of care, but some of the things that we mentioned about, like, what women go through, whether it's body wise, physical wise, whatever else, even on the job, of not being seen or heard or anything else, pay differences, moms, wives, as you mentioned. My question to you is, could any of the common factors that you mentioned or we discussed earlier be considered traumas if it's intense?
Absolutely, because what's the definition of trauma? The definition that I use to kind of put it in a nutshell is always a deeply disturbing or distressing experience. That's trauma, right? So, I mean, just look at how sometimes things like social media, right? So now that's another source where, people you're constantly comparing yourself or supposed to look a certain way, right? And so absolutely, all of these can be considered or traumatizing, right? Because if you're not resilient, or if you're having issues with your self-esteem or self-confidence, right? If you are always needing to get validation about how you feel about yourself or how you look, then things like comments on a social media post, or not enough likes, or feeling as though you're not doing parenting the way that you're supposed to parent, being the Cosbys or the Brady Bunch. I'm giving out my age, right? But things like that. All of these are sources, right, that can tend to cause you to compare yourself, right? The Hallmark Channel, how everything is solved in an hour, tons and tons of traumatic familial experiences. At the end, everybody's kissing and loving and holding each other. And we could only wish, right? That's just not the reality. And so you're in these different roles, and you're dealing with racial trauma. You're dealing with men that are chauvinistic. You're dealing with the society making demands upon you, and then you have to deal with, so how do I really feel about myself when I look in the mirror? So, are my lips okay? Are my hips okay? Am I too skinny? Am I too fat? I mean, things that we have to go through, or we put ourselves through as women. And so, yes, like you said, I often real quick, when I'm in the gym and I see men doing like this, I'm like, oh my God, so maybe they do go through stuff like we go through. I always laugh and laugh. I'm like, oh, he's checking himself out. Maybe they do go through how we go through, right? So yeah, but it's very, we're laughing, but we know that these are very serious, can be very serious issues, because oftentimes pressure, right? Just, feeling overwhelmed, right? Not, you could just snap. And I think a lot of times people, sometimes they just snap, or either people are not getting the help, the support that they need, so that they are in so much pain. And it's not that they want to end their life, they just want the pain to end. And so, unfortunately, different things like them ending their lives and, dying by suicide is just, the rates are just skyrocketing. And not only for adults, but for children.
Yes.
For children. Yeah. So it's some serious times.
It really is. And I know you probably touched on it, but I want to ask anyway. Why are women more at risk of experiencing mental health challenges?
I believe it is because of the stigma of being a woman that has it all together, right? So it's like we are supposed to be superheroes with our capes, pressed and looking beautiful, flapping in the wind, right? And so all of the responsibilities of working, or being at home with our children and parenting and being wives and being pastors' wives and being parents, and it's a lot of responsibilities. And unfortunately, women, because of all of the pressure and being overwhelmed, they tend to really have a difficult time, because it is just you're just expected to be a perfect mom. You're expected to have the laundry done and the dishes washed and your kids behaving and your husband fed, and it goes on and on and on. So it's the pressure all the time.
Exactly. I was just thinking about what you were saying. I have a friend on now, and I remember she would say, like, when we were growing up, like, even if you were married and someone come to your house, even though it's two adults in the house and you probably have kids that messed up, if someone comes to your house and your house isn't clean, they'll say, yeah, they'll blame you. You're not doing a good job.
You're not doing a good job.
And it's another grown person in the house. So it is that pressure to just just be on all the time. And I know I had mentioned earlier about like anxiety and depression are some of the things that women may face. My question to you is, what are other mental health challenges women may be exposed to that I didn't mention?
Well, it's funny that, of course, it's sadly, it is depression and anxiety. Those are the two that are always on the forefront when it comes to women and mental health, right? And we have to understand, depression is more than just having bad days, and anxiety is more than just worrying, right? And so that's why it's very dangerous for people to think they can diagnose people. It's very dangerous for people to think that, that these mental health conditions are not serious, right? And so when it comes to mental health, it's depression for women, it's anxiety for women, it's a post-traumatic stress disorder for women. And now, since within, I'm gonna say the last 4 or 5 years, sadly, it's suicide attempts and also eating disorders. It's something that is also something that women have very high numbers in. So those are the different, I would say, like the top 5 mental health conditions that women have a lot of numbers in, are battling, right?
Yes. Yes. All right. So I do want to get into this before the break, because I know you mentioned about the stigmas. And so I've been posting on Facebook about we got to be strong women. super women or saved women. We just got to be on all the time. Yeah. Outside of those, because those carry a lot of weight, right? Like you said, it means we have to be on in all of those. And somebody, what do you mean saved woman? There's nothing wrong with being saved. Okay, amen. I'm going to say this in the mic. There's nothing wrong with it. But right. If I am going through, if I am battling anxiety, depression, PTSD from whatever traumas, I can't get loose from that sometimes. Sometimes the setting doesn't allow me to get loosed from that trauma. It's especially if I'm saved, because I'm supposed to have it all together because I got God and God is all I need in my life. But so with that, outside of those stigmas, again, not discounting God, but I'm just saying, sometimes you have to be on, you can't even acknowledge that hurt that's going on. So what are some other common stigmas or barriers that women face that impact their mental health?
I think, again, the always comparing yourself to think you have to look a certain way, talk a certain way, keep your house a certain way, conduct yourself a certain way, and it's just in every area there is a expectation, right? There's a certain way that you're just supposed to be. And the freedom is to know that you have your own path and you have your own journey, right? I always say to my clients, if superheroes were real, we would see them in real life. You notice you only see superheroes on TV?
Yeah.
Because they don't exist. They don't exist. So relax, breathe, learn how to live. Yes, learn how to be. You are a human being, not a human doing, right? And you need to discover your purpose. You need to discover what you like. You need to discover what helps you, what brings you joy. What are you doing, right? To support your mental health and to support your self-care. And so when you begin to really deal with those type of things, then you get the freedom. You give yourself the permission to just be who you are and be comfortable in that stance that I don't have to pretend. I am whole in who I am, and in that I show up in that place. I want to be better. I want to do better. I'm always deciding and doing things to improve. But just because I want to improve doesn't mean I'm okay with where I am right now.
Whew. Y'all, that's preachable, and that's going to take us into our break. We're going to stop right there. But before we go into our break, again, as I mentioned, PRAYzy FM Radio, this is the platform I'm on. There's lots of room at the table. We have 24/7, right? We're here 24/7 with music and our shows. So if you miss this show, other shows, you can always catch our shows here. But guess what? You don't have to just watch us. If you have that inkling in your spirit to get behind this mic, come on, reach out to the radio station and host your show here. I'll scoot over, right? Remember how at family reunions, you didn't have enough room at the table and you had to scoot over a little bit, and both of you may have to share a chair and your butt on one seat, another. We have room at the table for you. Outreach the station, PRAYzy FM Radio. Send Dr. Lady Rain a message. Trust me, she'll get you on here. She's gonna find a corner for you to get on, okay? Or send a message to me and I'll get the information to her. Also, if you like, nah, that's not for me, then guess what? You can host any of these shows. You can host my show or any other show, or just sow a seed into the station. Same way, send a message to PRAYzy FM Radio or reach out to me, right? We'll get you connected, I guarantee you. I forgot to mention that we are a Stellar nominated station. All right. So this isn't just your average smarriage. OK, there's other dynamic people that's on here. All right, everyone. I will say, don't touch that dial like they used to say. I'm dating myself too, Dr. K.
Right.
Look, it's not too late to hit share Facebook Live, right? Bring somebody in. We're talking about women and mental health right here with Dr. K. We'll see you. Go grab somebody. See you in a few.
Have you ever wanted to host your own inspirational radio show? Have you been called to inspire and spread God's word? Please contact Alicia Rain for more info.
Are you the next great independent artist? But you're looking for a distribution opportunity? Well, sign with us at PRAYzy Music Distribution. Yes, the 2021 Stellar Award nominated PRAYzy can handle it all. We understand the narrow road leading to getting your music heard at the right time at the right place can be tough. So send your music and video files to fmprayz@gmail.com. That's fmprayz@gmail.com. PRAYzy Music Distribution, affiliated with Sony Music and the Orchard Distributors.
I could be on top of the world again. Just hold on to his unchanging hand. Be a part of the plan that he laid out. Live life up till it fade out. Fading, fading, fading away. Fading, fading, fading away.
Give me 5 words with a meaning. Over 10,000 tongues when it sound like screaming. Scenes from the nightlife, whole team glimmering the keys. Both room and a whip for the evening. Midnight air when I breathed in. Feel the devil's breath on my neck like he leaned in. Got her too high, hit a tailspin. Want nobody in the pit with me when I fell in. Caught a L in, jailed in.
Hey, Praise family, meet service disabled Navy veteran Howard Martell. He's a Christian, family man, and business owner of Howard Superstore. Howard, tell us more about the store.
Some of our top sellers include Gen Mink. It's 100% pure mink oil and provides exactly what your skin needs. Gen Java Gourmet Arabica CBD coffee with an unbelievably good taste. Jenny's Roll-On Pain Relief. Gen Health, which supports a healthy immune system. Ultimate Keto Ultimate Body Formula. Gen Pet Max Total Pet Health for cats and dogs. And Gen Ties Clean Hands. We're also super enthused to bring Gen Energy to the consumers. This is a power factor correction unit installed in your home or business, and it absolutely helps reduce high energy bills from power companies.
Learn more about these amazing products. Visit howardsuperstore.com. That's howardsuperstore.com.
Shop Soulful Touch Roses for your personally designed rose at soulfulgifts.etsy.com.
There is an exciting new book out named Transition by author Crystal Sauls. This book talks about her changes from childhood to adulthood and other things that happened in her life. This book is also a testament that anyone can turn a negative life into a great life. Transition has recently become a bestseller on Amazon. You will find exciting and realistic reviews about this best-selling book. So, visit thetransitionbook.com and order your autographed copy of Transition today.
Atlanta, we're back with the live television taping of AT&T's presentation of the 2022 Black Music Honors at the Comp Energy Center May 19th, hosted by LaToya Luckett and D-Ray Davis. The Black Music Honors, recognizing Drew Hill, Karen White, Carrie Hilson, Mary, Tevin Campbell, The Whispers, with special performances by Drew Hill, 112, Eric Bellinger, Kid and Play, Amber Riley, Carl Thomas, and many more. AT&T presents the Black Music Honors, May 19th at the Comp Energy Center. Get your tickets now at blackmusichonors.com.
Unique Sounds Music Group presents a music fest on Carnival Freedom, January 26th through the 30th, 2023. Sailing from Orlando, Florida, to Nassau and Princess Cay, Bahamas. Reserve your spot today with just $25 by contacting booking at uniquesounds.com.
Attention! Music Fest has opened its doors of opportunity for a short period of time to musical talents to perform. For more information about participating in the Music Fest shows, please contact Let's Connect at A2ZChristlife.com or www.PRAYzy.fm.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to Under the Scope. I am your host, Kimbralon B, LPC, and I am here sitting with my good friend, Dr. Karen Stallings, and we are talking about women and mental health. Look, we're getting ready to get back in because there's some knowledge coming out of this episode today, really on all the episodes. If there's anybody in the room or if there's anybody that's not on Facebook, you need to send them a text right now or send them a message and say, girl, they talking about you. And get them on so they can come in here because we are talking about the topic of women and mental health. Get them on here and have them get on and have them share with someone else. Just to recap, if you just now joining us, welcome. Glad that you are here. It's not too late. This is Under the Scope, and with Under the Scope, this is a show that gives you an opportunity to participate. You're able to ask our guests questions, right? So take advantage of it. Facebook Live, I'm appreciative that you're there. Hit share, ask questions, any questions you have. And here in the Zoom room, please feel free to ask questions also. So we talked about women and mental health. Like there's things you probably didn't even think about, like our menopause, like menstrual cycles. Yeah, we talk about emotions and all of this, but it could be a real thing for some people. Fertility loss, self-esteem, body issues, anything that can contribute to women and mental health. And of course, we know women are at a higher rate. Why? Because we feel like we need to be on. There's a stigma surrounding us being women. For example, superwoman, strong woman, saved woman. And if you feel like you have to be on all the time, it's hard for you to probably go to someone and say that I'm struggling. So we choose to suffer in silence so we can maintain where we're at. And that's what causes us more mental health challenges. And like Dr. K said earlier, some of us want to escape the pain. We may not necessarily want to end our life, but we want to escape the pain. So we're here talking about those issues that you may be struggling with or somebody you know. But so Dr. K, we talked about the stigmas, and I know we're on the other side of the hour, and I want to give people an opportunity to ask you questions. So we know stigmas, we know women, mental health, us having to be on. What are some of the ways you think that we can close the gap on reducing the stigmas and the importance of women to take that time out to take care of their own mental health?
Well, definitely what you're doing, right? This platform is being utilized to help to destigmatize mental health. I think proper information, right? That it will allow women to know that it's okay to not be okay, right? That doesn't take away from you being phenomenal if you decide that you want to get some more support. I think it's important when you talk about destigmatizing mental health that you destigmatize therapy, right? Because a lot of people, especially in our community, the first thing we'll say is, ain't nothing wrong with me, or I'm not crazy, right? Again, stigma, right? Because therapy, I often tell people therapy is just another source of support, right? It's a soft place to fall. It's a place to get clarity, to get strategy. It's a way for you to talk stuff out. And sometimes just having that place alone can begin a healing journey for you. And so how do you destigmatize it? When you and your girlfriends are getting together and y'all are going to have brunch, bring up the fact that, you're going to start going to therapy, or when you go and you have your sleepovers, start talking about, so sis, how you doing? Like for real, how you really doing? I'm not too particular about, check on your strong friend. I'd rather we just check on our friends, right? Because your strong friend could be pretending that she's strong, but she's weak. But because of stigma, she's pretending that she's strong because you're not supposed to be weak. So now we ain't gonna check on our strong friends. We're gonna check on our friends, right? And we know that as Black people, we are a community people, that it is important that we understand the importance of village, of community, right? And so if I can share that I'm in therapy, or that I see a therapist, then maybe somebody else will feel comfortable to share, and then somebody else will feel more comfortable to share. So it's just you taking ownership of your mental health, and then sharing the fact that, you're taking ownership of taking care of not only your physical. We don't have any problem saying, I got a doctor's appointment. We don't have any problem saying, you better go get that mammogram, you better go get that pap smear. Well, listen, just as important as your physical health is your mental health. So just like you don't have a problem saying, go to the doctor, you shouldn't. And we hope to create spaces that are safe enough for you to say, I'm about to go to my therapist.
And that's okay. And it's okay. All right to have one.
And not only is it okay, but I like to say therapy is not something you need, it's something you deserve.
I like that.
It's something you deserve. You deserve a space. You deserve a space, a setting where the focus is only on you and your stuff. Who wouldn't want that? Who wouldn't want that?
That's a win. That's a win.
Like the focus is all on me, right? I finally get the attention, the support, the space where I could just be me. And so, yeah, it's what you deserve.
It's what you deserve, everyone.
Absolutely.
I have one more question for Dr. K, everyone, and we're getting ready to take Dr. K under the scope after this question. And then I have an announcement before we go under the scope. So my last question for you is about Heal My Wounded Place. That's what I read about it. I saw when you were advertising, I went to your website, and you do so much on Heal My Wounded Place. And you've listed some of the powerful books and activities that you do in the community. I mean, it's full, everyone. Can you please just let us know about what you do, about any of your books, just anything that we can find on that website?
So my assignment, I am very intentional about wanting to see people be healed from the wounds that they don't talk about, right? But I definitely have a burden for the body of Christ, because sadly, that is a space that really does not embrace a lot of times clinicians and the clinical space. And so God has asked me, and I obeyed, right, to kind of talk about trauma and wounds, and how God is a healer. Yes. And so Heal My Wounded Place came from the Lord dealing with me about the wounds of our soul, right? And so I am doing different preaching, workshops, seminars to destigmatize that you can love Jesus, be saved, filled, on your way to heaven, and have a therapist, right? Getting the body of Christ to understand that trauma is a noun, it's an occurrence, it's something that happened. And so you can't cast it out, right? It's not healthy to repress it. You can't pray it away. Now, you can use prayer to help you heal from trauma, right? Which is what my book, the book that I wrote, When Trauma and Faith Collide, right? It's just a book that says, listen, we're not saying that traumas are not happening, because traumas happen to those that are saved too, right? But God, we can use our faith and our relationship with Him and the Word of God to help us heal from trauma, right? And so that's the when trauma and faith collide. And then I've also written 3 ebooks that really just talk about self-esteem building. There's only one. You're the only one that there is. I talk about a book about childhood trauma. And then I've written a ebook that talks about the power of self-forgiveness. A lot of times when you hear people talk about forgiveness, we are always talking about how we have to forgive others. And 'tis true. But a lot of times the person that needs forgiving as well is ourselves. Come on here, we stand in our own way. And so that's what I talk about in that book. And so we are in business to heal the wounds you cannot see. We are in business for you to give yourself the space and the place and permission to really begin to deal with those things that you are uncomfortable talking about, those things and those triggers, those unhealed spaces in you. Yes, you're not supposed to walk around weighted down with that stuff. That's not the will of the Father. He wants you to give it to him. And so through therapy and through prayer and through reading the word and through connectedness, we're able to be healed from the wounds that are in our soul. And so that's the whole meaning, mantra, mission of Heal My Wounded Place.
Ooh. All right. So what's your web address?
Oh, it's www.healmywoundedplace.com. www.healmywoundedplace.com.
Awesome. Everyone, while we prepare to take Dr. K under the scope, ask your questions now. I do want to mention that because I believe in healing our wounded places so much, that I'm going to do a giveaway, and I want to bless somebody with 3 of Dr. K's books. And this is how you get the information to me. I put in the chat in the Zoom room an email address, focusedlivingllc@gmail.com. I put it in Facebook earlier. I'll put it in Facebook again. If you're interested in the book, please say, I want the books. I shouldn't say book because it's 3. I want the books. All right. Books. So it's FOCUSEDLIVINGLLC@gmail.com. FocusedLivingLLC at gmail.com. Okay. So, that's a lot. That was a lot to say. And I mean, when I was listening to Dr. K right now describe them books, I wasn't even going to do a giveaway. I was going to actually just keep them for myself, everyone. And I want to say, honestly, if you want the books, not trying to be shady or petty, don't just do it to win. If you want to just win, I'll get you a lottery ticket. But if you're going to use these, if you get these books, I want you to read these books and use these books. Again, because I bumbled the email address before we go under the scope, focusedlivingllc@gmail.com. So just send me a message, everyone, and you'll be entered in, and I'll pick a name and I'll reach out to you to get your email address, and we'll get those books to you. All right, everyone. Let's see. We're taking Dr. K under the scope. Anyone have any questions? Any comments? See. I'm trying to see. I know my good friend's checking for me. I do have a comment though. I noticed in Facebook while we're waiting, Dr. K.
Yeah.
And this is from Kim Baker. So another show that's on PRAYzy FM on Thursday mornings, y'all, 6 a.m. It's beautiful, Praise in the AM. And it says, this is from the male perspective. Ladies, look in the mirror and just love the woman. Just love the woman and just love, y'all, I need my glasses, y'all. This is from the male perspective. Ladies, look at yourself in the mirror and just love the woman you're looking back at you. Be true to yourself. And if you're tired, it's okay. You are uniquely and wonderfully made. I bumbled through it, but guess what? That's so true.
Amen.
That's so true, Prophet Baker. Thanks for posting that. I have other comments that says this is a great discussion. We have Kayla said, somebody said, come on, Dr. K. So I guess you was really talking about what we needed to hear. So maybe we covered everything. You know, I was just thinking about that. So you see, we'll wait about a minute. And if not, I'll ask you some closing thoughts for everyone from the topic of women in mental health.
Sure, absolutely.
Because this is something that we have to talk about. We have to learn how to live out loud, right? It's not necessarily just telling your business or anything like that. We have to have these discussions so we could know that it's okay not to be okay, and in different settings. And I do like what Dr. K said. Well, if anyone have any last minute questions about therapy or about talking to someone, therapy also, in addition to what Dr. K said, it gives you that neutral space where you can talk without judgment. Again, because we do feel like we have to be on all of the time, right? And there, you don't have to be on. You can actually just be yourself and share those deepest thoughts. Those thoughts are kept in confidence. So that's another reason why we press therapy. So honey, if you want to just be off, take it all off in there, that's fine, right? And when you come on back out, you can put your ass back on and your cape back on and step on through your day because you're getting stronger that way. Question, Dr. K, how do you tell a so-called strong woman she needs to talk to someone?
So that the thing about therapy or counseling or having people seek help is that person has to want the help, right? And so we can want our loved ones, our friends, our sister girls to seek help, but the bottom line is they have to want the help, right? And how do you tell them? You tell them, you know, like we got to just stop all of this. Like it's something wrong with needing, wanting, deserving therapy, right? So how do you tell them? You say, yo, sis, like, I really think that you're going through something right now, or it appears you're very overwhelmed, or, you know, you've lost a lot of people through this pandemic, or, you know, parenting is hard. Can we just pause right there and talk about how we don't talk about how hard parenting is, because everybody wants to believe that they do it perfectly, or they're not given the space of the room. Listen, it's hard work. And so how do you tell people that they deserve a space to talk, to get support, to get tools? You tell them, sis, I love you. I'm worried about you. And it appears like you're going through a whole lot. Have you ever thought about going to a clinician? You ever thought about therapy? You ever thought about going to counseling? You ever thought about a support group? You ever thought about doing something other than what you're doing now? Just simply bringing it out, because when you come from a space of love, it's easy to receive, right? It's very important. Again, therapy is not just for a crisis intervention, right? Therapy is not for just when something's going wrong. Therapy is for when something's going right, so you can maintain what's going right. There's no listen, therapy is like them jeans that you wear in the summer, you wear in the spring, you wear in the winter, right? Therapy is trans-seasonal. There is not a season that you don't deserve therapy. So if she needs it, if she deserves it, and the Lord has you being a friend or a sister to her, you just tell her in love. But we got to stop thinking like, oh my God, there's something wrong with her, she needs to go see a therapist. No, there's something right with her. She deserves a therapy. A therapist, right? You know, it's a lot going on in this world today. We all deserve that place. this maneuvering through life now with the pressures of social media and living through a pandemic where people have lost tons, like members of their family, understanding, how to process and rationalize and maneuver the waters called life. Yeah, we all deserve that space.
We do. So you just tell her.
You just tell her.
Right.
You tell her, I love you. I'm concerned about you. And I want you to get some more support. Therapy is just a place to receive some support, another set of eyes, another set of ears, and some strategy from people who have been trained to help you deal with what life is bringing you, right? And so, listen, you need therapy, you deserve therapy. Hit my website, make an inquiry right through there, and I will get back to you.
Nice. One more quick question for you, because I know we're in the closing. How do you heal when someone always brings negative behavior?
So it's difficult to heal in an environment that makes you sick. Okay, so that's, it's very difficult. And part of healing, yes, is healing interrupts patterns and breaks cycles. Did you hear me?
Yes.
Healing interrupts patterns and breaks cycles. So when you begin to go and start a journey of healing, not only do things change from the inside, but they change from the inside out, right? So one of the things that will definitely probably change is your people, places, and things, right? So this is the thing, we're real big with, I got to cut people off. Let me tell you something. You heal, those people that are toxic are going to fall off. You don't have to cut them off. They ain't going to want to be around you because they were attracted to the unhealed version of you. And so when you start healing, come on here, and the Lord allow you to begin to unmask and unload, and you begin to see who you really are. Because see, trauma, we become a totally different person when you start healing and discovering you again. Yes. Then things, people, places, they just gonna fall away. You ain't gotta worry about it because they were attracted to the chaos, to the drama, to the toxicity, to the unhealed things. And so when that stuff starts getting healed and that stuff starts becoming things that you don't like, and you learn new patterns, new ways of thinking and talking, and your appetite shift, some of the things around you, you start desiring things that are healthy, physically and emotionally. You start understanding not that you're better than people, but that you're on a different path and you deserve to be treated a certain way, but you also understand your responsibility and how you treat others. You learn, like everybody deserves empathy and kindness.
Ooh, see, that's why it's a benefit of having a Dr. K in your pocket. Woo! All right, I just want to go over some comments real fast, Dr. K. It was trust is golden. Hold on, y'all. Trust is golden. Can you trust yourself to be made whole? If so, transparency is the key. Yes. And there's another comment that therapy is seasonal. Yes, it is. It's a shift in there. Oh my gosh. I like this. Thank you, Dr. K, as always, for coming on here. Really fast, one more time, where can we find you before I close out the show?
www.healmywoundedplace.com, right? I'm also on Facebook, Dr. Karen Stallings. I'm on Instagram, Dr. Karen Stallings. Listen, I'm everywhere because God desires that we are healed and whole from the inside out.
Yes, don't forget Focused Living, FOCUSEDLIVING @gmail.com, everyone, for those books that I want to bless someone with. All right. So this has been great. Thank you for coming as usual. Thanks for talking about women and mental health. Look here, man, whoever's tuning in or doing a Facebook drive-by, whatever, don't feel bad. I'm coming your way next week. We're talking about men and mental health. So it's about to go down here and we're about to get in y'all business. Okay. All right. This is Under the Scope. This has been great. I'm your host, Kimbralon B. Come back next Saturday, same time. Bring a friend, bring 5 friends to Under the Scope, where good tea and reads are welcome. See you next week.
Bye.
You are tuned in to that PRAYzy station, praise.fm, where we get our praise on, 24 hours.